Hey, everybody, it's Harlan Cohen. It's Sunday. It is December 21st, and I wanted to check in and say, how you doing? What's going on? How are you today? I have been very busy answering questions from people who are struggling with their college notifications. A lot of people getting deferred. Yeah, deferred's tough. If deferred was in a relationship, it would be, I really like you. I want to see what else is out there, uh, but I might reach out to you again. Just stay there because I'm interested. I just don't know if I'm ready to commit. I think it's harsh. It's harsh because you want to be wanted, and there's also this part of you that's like, yeah, you're lucky to have me. I don't need to beg for you to be in my life. If you think of just the whole process. I think the whole college process is really broken, and, I don't think it puts students and parents in a position of strength and power, and I love being able to help them to do that. If any of you wanna check out my latest Substack post, let me put this here in the comments, and, right now I'm streaming on a lot of different platforms, so you should be able to type in your comments, and I should be able to see those. So if you comment and if you have any questions, let me know. Oh, that's kind of cool. You can see my Substack post. Oh, I like that. That's really cool. I'm doing a lot more. I'm going to be doing a lot of lives. The goal here is I want to make sure that I can be in your life when you need me. I want to make sure that you're supported, and I'm going to be doing lots of different things to do that. So I'm just checking to make sure a couple things are the way I want them to be. And if you have any questions, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Harlan Cohen, and I wrote a book called The Naked Roommate and 107 Other Issues You Might Run Into in College. The Naked Roommate is the number one book on college life, and it is really big on YouTube. My face is big. And The Naked Roommate, where's The Naked Roommate book? This is The Naked Roommate, if those of you aren't familiar. I know it's like everywhere around here. But basically, this book, I interviewed thousands of students, and they shared their tips and stories. And then over the years, because I'm an advice columnist, I wrote a book called Getting Naked: 5 Steps to Finding the Love of Your Life While Fully Clothed and Totally Sober. And not a lot of people know about this book. This book is great. It's all about risk taking. And then if you want to get into risk taking in general, just like risk taking in any part of your life, there's Win or Learn. And Win or Learn is about helping you to ask the question, what is it that I want to create, change, or experience in my life? What do I want to create, change, or experience? If any of you are just joining, please share any questions in the comments. I can see your comments. I'm here to just check in. There's a lot of people who are going through a lot right now. And I'm not just talking about college, I'm just talking about the holidays. Some of you are home for the holidays. Some of you are going to see friends and family for the holidays. Some of you are excited, some of you are not. Students who are sharing surprises with their families. I know a lot of students have been writing to me, and they've been really worried about telling the truth to their parents. A lot of students who, some students who just have like blatantly lied. They're failing classes and telling their parents that they're doing well. And I feel so bad for you because the fact that you have a home and a relationship with your parents where you can't share the truth is very upsetting because they should support you, and you should feel supported. So there's lots of people who are going through lots of different things. I wanted to share with you that Substack post. That Substack post is my most recent post where I talk about being deferred and really go through the way that you can handle dealing with this unexpected issue. See, if you want to distill what I do down to the core, it's how do you deal with unwanted information? How can you move forward when something doesn't go as planned? How do you get through difficult challenges? So if there's anything on your mind, let me know. I'll share with you a few things that have been coming up because I think it's important just for you to get a sense of what's going on, because you might be like, yeah, I'm going through that too. I'm watching all the comments. If any of you have a question, if any of you are familiar with what I do, if I've helped you in any way, let me know. I'm also going to share a few gift ideas too, because I have some gift ideas that I think would be very, very helpful. All right. So I was having a back and forth with a student who did not get into an Ivy League school. And this student was so upset because they've been working their whole life to get into an Ivy League school. And I have this knee-jerk reaction. Like when somebody is so hyper-focused on a goal, I want to understand, like, what's the reason? Like, what's the reason? Because if you're someone who has been working so hard to get somewhere, and the goal is just to get there, then is that really the right motivation, just to get there? I think one of the biggest missing pieces is what's going to happen when you're there. I think so many students and so many parents are so focused on getting there that not a lot of people think about what's going to happen when you're there. And when I was having this back and forth with this student, I really try to be supportive. I'm going to an Ivy League school. That's exciting. What is it that you want to do there? What experiences do you want to have? What specific experiences do you want to have at this school? Because they're deferred. And it's really important when thinking about what it is that I want, what experiences do I want to have? Now, this is another thing. If you want to zoom out, this is not just about college. This is about, getting the prize. It's about focusing on the destination. And it's like, what happens when you get the job? What happens when you get the date? What happens when you get to the school? What happens when you actually get the things you want? And if there's any parents here, I don't have any parents of seniors, any parents of current college students, there's a real problem when it comes to defining success. And this is where I'm focusing a lot of my energy with Best First Year. This is my college coaching and success program. A lot of what I do is I help students and parents to navigate these changes. I help them to work through these uncomfortable situations. And what you find is so many students, they don't really think about success. Nobody thinks about what is success and how do I define success? How do I define success 3 months into college? How do I define success 6 months into college? How do I define success? Because if you don't have a definition of success and specific things that are going to happen once you've achieved this goal, then you get there and you're like, what was I doing this all for? So if you want to really switch things up, and this goes back to talking to the Ivy League student or the student who had worked so hard to get into the Ivy League schools, it's that if you're not focused on what's going to actually happen when you're there, if you don't get the answer you want, you're going to be so busy focusing on what you did wrong and how things are going to, be so terrible and you're shattered. But it's like, if you have an idea of what it is you're actually going to do when you're there, you can do those things at lots of places. You can do those things at lots of places. But most people are so focused on getting that thing and having the outside affirmation that they don't really think about what's going to happen once they're there. Because those goals are really just checkpoints on a journey that's much bigger. And I'm writing this book now. I'm writing a book on going from college to career. And the thing I've seen as a constant runner is if you are more focused on relationships, if you are more focused on curiosity, if you are more focused on learning, if your motivation isn't to get something from someone, but if your motivation is to learn something that can help you to get information that's going to inform you so that you can take another step in the direction you want to go, you're going to be much more successful. And I think a lot of parents, we want to think that if our kids go to certain schools and have certain experiences, that their life is going to be more secure, that they're going to have a better chance of being successful. And I can tell you the thing that is going to help the most is the ability to be curious, the ability to connect with people, the ability to advocate. And it's not about the grades. The grades are an outcome of doing the work. But if you do the work without building the relationships and creating the connections, you're not going to be in a place of strength. You're not going to be in a place of strength. I'm trying to see if I have if any questions have come in on Facebook, because I'm streaming on a few different platforms right now. So I'm going to check that out because it's supposed to come in here. If any of you have any questions, if any of you have any comments, if anybody has anything that they want to share, please let me know so that I can respond to your questions. So a few things that I wanted to also communicate with you. You know, it's funny. I was listening to a lot of AM radio yesterday because my son and I have a sophomore in college, and he's going to a different school, and we were in the car and we were listening to the radio, and that was a whole other story. It was a great ride, and I loved spending time with him. But it's interesting because so much of like listening to this radio, it's like filler. Even this, I was doing it where I'm like, and this is what I want to share. It's like one of the things I've learned in communicating is if you want to share something, you share it. Those fillers just take up a lot of space, and they don't really do anything. I was using a filler because I was looking at some other places here, and I was like, man, I hate these fillers. A couple things. Check out the Substack post. If you find anything I share helpful, my best first year coaching program is probably the most valuable thing I do. I walk you from high school to college to career. I help you to define success. I help you to understand why going to a particular school is important. So many of you are so upset because you didn't get into a certain school. And I have to tell you, I think you are so much better off getting deferred and having to ask difficult questions. Because when you get deferred, when you get rejected, if you're somebody who wants to be successful, instead of getting upset, you get curious. And yeah, you can get upset. You get upset. Everybody needs to get upset. But then you get curious. And when you get curious, you don't focus on what other people did and how they're going to get ahead. What you focus on is what I've been telling you. How do you define success that first 3 months, that first 6 months? If you can't answer that question, then you're not ready to go to the next place, because you're going to end up in a situation where you're going to be waiting for other people to tell you what to do, or you'll be waiting for a sign. What is it that success will be? And it doesn't have to be that big. It could be, I'm going to join this club or organization. I'm going to go to the spiritual group. I'm going to participate in this particular leadership organization. I'm going to try and study with this professor or do some sort of research. It's like, what is it that you want? What is success? If you get in the habit of really being specific on what is success and what does that look like, you're naturally going to meet the right people. You're naturally going to find places where you can do the things that are most important to you, and you're going to become more successful. And in a world where technology is replacing so much of the communication, someone who knows how to be curious and knows they're going to be okay no matter what is going to be unstoppable, is going to be unstoppable. That is a secret. All right. This is a book I wanted to recommend, Atomic Habits Workbook. I don't know if any of you are familiar with Atomic Habits. This is James Clear's book, and there is now a workbook. And I am a huge fan of this workbook. I'm going to be doing some work in this workbook. And basically, it walks you through what you can do so that you are going to be able to make changes in your life that will ultimately get you to the places you want to go. So check out this book. There's a link to this in my bookstore, and I'll include a link here. This is how you can check it out. This is my Amazon bookstore, and I have a lot of recommended books here that I think you'll appreciate. So definitely check that out. If any of you have any questions, please ask me those. I would love to have your questions. I can actually show your questions on the screen here. So if any of you have any college questions, if any of you have any life questions, relationship questions, whatever it is, please let me know. I would love to hear from you, and I'd love to be able to share that. Check out my Substack post. My Substack post is in the link here. Let's see if it's here. I've got there's like weird stuff that's being showed here. I'm going to delete this other one about a free event. Oh, this is from a different one. Okay. So you can check that out. And I also wanted to let you know about my most recent podcast with Jeff Salingo. You can check that out on YouTube. I have an audio podcast, and then I also have a video podcast, and Jeff is terrific. We had a great conversation about why where you go is not the most important thing. You know, people are so focused on the name of the school and getting into a prestigious school. What they don't recognize is success is what you do here. And this is in line with this whole idea of like, what is success? How do you work through that? How do you define success? And how can you make sure that no matter where you go and what you do, you're going to be set up for success? And it's counter to how so many students and families look at success, because success is defined as accolades. It's defined as bumper stickers. It's defined as prestige. But those things are not going to be what sustains a student and helps them to be successful. It's the things that I share in my books. It's what I share as part of Best First Year, my college success and coaching program. So check that out as well. I think I'll leave a link there, and I'm going to head on over and answer some more questions. I'm going to head on over to some of the other platforms. I wanted to just check in with you and let you know I have these resources, and I'm in your corner. So much of what I do and what I encourage is risk-taking, taking risks, putting yourself out there. In January of 2026, as part of Best First Year, I'm launching the 2026 Internship and Job Experiment. And the Internship and Job Experiment is about supporting you and helping you to think about what job, what internship, what do I want to do? This is not about the rest of your life. This is about a challenge. What is it that you can do so that you can be set up for success? And if you're not interested in a job or internship, you can do anything you want to create change or experience something. What is it you want to create that scares you? What is it that you want to change that makes you uncomfortable? And how can you put yourself in places to have these new experiences? So as part of Best First Year, every 2 weeks, I will be hosting the Win or Learn Risk-Taking Experiment sessions. I'll also be answering your questions. If you're a parent of a recent grad, a parent of a soon-to-be grad, a student, these are all ways to support you and to be in your corner. If anybody has any questions about Best First Year, about anything else that I'm doing, let me know. If you check the link in my bio, I also have access to Beyond Getting In, how to help your high school student be successful in college. This is an event that I hosted last week, and I'm going to make that available for one more day. So you can check that link as well. And if any of you have any questions, let me know. I appreciate you, and I'm excited to just check in to let you know that I'm in your corner, and I'm here for you. All right. Have the best Sunday, and I look forward to talking to you again very soon. Thanks.